Hello and welcome to the Dharma Life podcast. I am so excited about the conversation we are going to have, and my guest today, Anna Wood, is an intuitive channel and coach, and she has been speaking her truth, and I knew I needed to get her on the podcast. So Anna, welcome to the Dharma Life podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. So happy to be here.
Well, I'm excited about the conversation we are going to have. We just had a great catch up before we start. But do you mind just sharing with my audience who maybe haven't come across you? They will do now, but could you just share a little bit about who you are and what you're doing in the world?
Absolutely. So I am Anna Wood. I call myself an ascension guide. I guide you through the process of remembering who you really are as an eternal spiritual being and activating your powers. You are so eternally powerful. You have the power to magnetically attract what is meant for you in life, the people, the circumstances, and your purpose. And I help you remember and activate these. Yes, I am a coach, but I really see myself more as a guide because I believe you are the powerful one. I'm just helping you remember. I am also a channeler. So I receive information from higher dimensional realms. I know that can sound a little out there to some people, but I've learned to just speak my truth on that. Yeah, just go with it. And, you know, a lot of people ask about my background as well. I was not raised to be spiritual. I was not raised in a religious household or anything like that at all. Quite the opposite. I had a more traditional upbringing, corporate upbringing. And I started off in coaching at Google. I was a Stanford MBA, really got into business coaching there. And
quite traditional.
Quite traditional. And the spiritual world like had other plans for me. And I really, you know, when I was younger, I was very tapped into the spiritual realms, but that came back as an adult. And I've always known that I've been guided intuitively. But as I've grown along my journey, that my channel has blasted open, and it's really become clear to me where my information and guidance has come from. So that's been my own evolution on this path as well.
Incredible journey. And I think, you know, the conversation that I want to have with you right now is about what is happening on our earth. You know, one of the reasons I really wanted to get you on the podcast is because I'm loving everything you're doing. Go and check out Anna's YouTube. Incredible. She's speaking the truth. She's talking about the Great Awakening. She's talking about everything that is happening right now. I really want to make this a really, what's the word I'm looking for? A really useful session for our listeners. Okay. So some are awakened, some are recently awakened. You have just described, you've gone through this massive transition to get to where you are now. What advice, because everyone's up leveling, right? We're ascending, everyone's up leveling. What advice do you have for our listeners at the moment? If they're kind of, you know, they want to be where you are, tapped into their power, how can they activate this?
Yes. Well, first, let's talk about what awakening is, because I know a lot of people who aren't awake yet hear that and they're like, what is everybody talking about? So being awake, being spiritually awake, means that you are aware of the fact that you are an eternal spiritual being. You are so much more vast and eternal than just this 3D life experience that you are having as Anna or as Aloise. You are made of energy, and your spirit has had many different lifetimes, past, present, future, and parallel. And when you wake up spiritually, you become aware of that. You remember. That's why I talk about, I guide you through remembering. You start to remember other lifetimes you've had. You start to remember how to activate the dormant DNA, the quote unquote junk DNA that's in our body. That's what waking up is. Another big part of waking up, which is what's happening on the planet right now, is waking up to the fact that there is so much more going on in the world than what we've been told. And, you know, from the moment we are born, from the moment we go to school, we go to a job, the moment we turn on the TV, we have been programmed to believe certain things. And this can be hard for people to understand until they wake up for it, but I'm going to do my best to guide you through it, and let you know that this programming is by design. And what a lot of people are waking up to now in quarantine, because, you know, there are many, many people on the planet that have been awake to this for a very long time. But, it sounds like, Aloise, you're one of those people. I'm one of those people. I didn't give it any of my energy at all. It was just not something that I wanted to lend my energy to until very recently. Because very recently, with what I call the cocoa, the thing that's spreading around the planet, causing a lot of panic right now. This is an event, a crisis event that is all happening by design, and
Orchestrated.
It is orchestrated, and it's orchestrated by a group of people a very elite group of people who have been in power for a very long time, who are at the very tip top of all of these industries, the news, the Hollywood, politics, and they have the puppet strings. And this may sound a little out there. This may sound a little crazy. So big part of what I teach, by the way, is feel it in your body, feel what feels true for you. But what I believe, and I've done a lot of research on this, and, you know,
I will concur.
the more I do, the more I see confirmation of this, that there are these people in power that they, in a sense, harvest our energy and take our power. And one of the ways that they do that is they keep us in fear. As you wake up spiritually, you learn about vibration and energy, and fear vibrates very, very low. It is a very 3D level of consciousness, where as a planet, we are ascending to 5D, but they don't want us to ascend. So they're trying to keep us in this fear-based frequency. And one of the ways they do that is with fear-based programming on the news. And if you watch the news, it's like 99.9% negative all the time. Even though these projections about what's going to happen with the cocoa have been way off, and we haven't hit those numbers at all, and actually there's a lot of positive things to celebrate, it's still negative. It's all negative. And the question to be asking is why? Why is it all negative? What I believe is they create a problem like the cocoa, and then they get us in a fear-based state where we ask for the solution, which is actually what they wanted to give us all along, which is something that rhymes with his name, Maxine.
Which is a shot in your arm.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm laughing, and sometimes I share this information and people get very scared. And I want you to know that this is actually the most exciting time to be alive on the planet. What I believe our souls, our eternal souls, we're very excited to incarnate on this time, because what's happening is something that's called the Great Awakening. And for the first time in human history, our entire human race is taking a massive leap in consciousness from the third dimension to the fifth dimension. Okay. The third dimension is based on control, working in a 9-to-5 job that you hate, feeling stuck, feeling scarcity, living in fear, being.
We're not meant to work all the time. You know, we're supposed to be here to do our spiritual practice.
Exactly. And as a planet, the frequency is raising of the planet, and the frequency is raising of us as individuals. And we are ascending to 5D love-based unity consciousness, where you don't have to work so hard anymore. You get to be yourself.
Enjoy your life. Yeah.
So it's very exciting. And these people in power, their power is slipping away, and it's very exciting, but it's not a done deal. We've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so with you on that, because I think that there's a danger, isn't there? And I believe we're at a critical point in our evolution, and what we do in the next 3 months will have a massive impact on the next 5 years as a planet. So can you speak to that for me? Because I think there's a danger to kind of wake up, you know, you go through the shock, you go through the fear, you then obviously, it's our collective shadow that we are experiencing at the moment. And it's really important that we integrate those emotions and those feelings. But then there's a danger to kind of give our power away and say, oh, well, Trump's going to come and save us, or other people will do it. You know, I'm just going to observe. And can you speak to that? Because that's dangerous, I think.
Absolutely. So yes, we are ascending. Yes, we are birthing a new earth, but what is that new earth going to look like? And how long is it going to take to get there? There are many different timelines that we could be on, and time is so quickly right now. Like, time is moving faster than ever. That's why you can feel like a totally different person than you did yesterday right now. Like things are really evolving, and it's important that we be intentional, that every single one of us as individuals really feel into and envision what we want this new earth to look like. There are people with a very wide array of agendas for what the quote new normal will be, which is a programming term that they are using to get us to accept staying in our homes, versus the new earth. And what is this new earth going to look like? There are an infinite number of new earths that we can birth. So it's really important we be intentional about that. The most important thing you can do as someone who is awake is, when it comes to your people that are not awake, by the way, let me say that, because I know that can be really tough. I've experienced that myself, is know that everybody wakes up in their own time and just plant seeds. Just plant seeds, and you are being a light and a guide just by being you. And, it's not about forcing this information on anyone, because if you do, they likely won't believe it. They will likely lash out
and
at you.
they have to break through themselves, don't they? It's almost like the pennies has to drop they have to drop it themselves. They can't be told.
The truth can't be told, it must be found. So you plant seeds and they will find it for themselves eventually. Some people will blind themselves, and that's their choice. And, not everyone, this may sound dark, but it's really not, not everyone is going to make it to the new earth. There will be death, and this is all part of the divine plan. But as we move to this new earth, it's really, really important that we anchor in the highest possible timeline. And in order to do that, those that are awake play such a key role, and we are so, so, so powerful. So focus on your own vibration. Focus on going within. We are gifted with this incredible opportunity of quarantine to go within and raise our own vibration, raise our own consciousness. This event, this is a really unprecedented time. And as a light worker, your light body is able to take on more light codes, more higher frequency than those around you. So it's your job to integrate that higher vibration. And as you do so, you actually anchor it into the planet. You lend your frequency to those around you, and that's how you help us all ascend. Another big part of this is using your voice, speaking your truth. Everybody talks about the heart, opening up the heart to get to 5D consciousness, but speaking your truth, the throat chakra can be a bottleneck for a lot of people. Speak your truth. This is your responsibility, and it's a super highway to higher consciousness, and also giving people a voice that are speaking their truth, because the algorithms certainly aren't doing those people any favors. So we got to be grassroots and share this material as much as possible.
Can you share with the audience, because a lot of people I'm talking to in my community are saying they want to speak up, but can you maybe share your own experience of how you opened up your own kind of truth, your throat chakra? Because I think that's kind of, people don't want to be told you're weird or you're a conspiracy theorist, and that we all have that fear of being different and odd, and we've got to get through it. We've got to get over it, and get over it fast.
Yeah. Well, you are a light worker. You're not actually meant to fit in, and you will be really unhappy as you try to fit in, and you actually won't be very good at it, because it's your true nature to shine, and you can perceive of much more light. And yes, that can be triggering to people, but now is the time to activate. Yes, maybe, the beginning of your life, it was easier to fit in, but now is the great awakening. Now is really why you came here. And it will feel so good. I went through a throat chakra clearing for like a year and a half. And ultimately, as I really started speaking my truth, it led to Kundalini awakening. And
yeah, tell us about that. It's incredible.
Well, first I'll just say, like, with the throat chakra clearing thing, like, if you don't speak, so many of my clients that come to me and they don't know themselves, and it's because they're not speaking their truth. If you are not speaking your truth, you don't know yourself. Nobody else knows you, and your people, your opportunities can't find you. And this is why you came here. This is why you came here at this time, in one way or another, is to be a part of this great awakening. So speaking your truth is really important. And you want me to tell you about my Kundalini awakening?
Oh, I'm fascinated by both. But so is that, so just sorry, that was my fault. I jumped. But so throat chakra, have courage, basically, Keep practicing.
Be brave. And if, you know, not everyone's gift is their voice. As light workers, we were all gifted different abilities, basically, here on earth, different higher dimensional abilities. One of mine is my voice. So this is a big part of my journey, but not everybody's gift is voice, and you may have something else. So speaking your truth, it may come in a different form of not just speaking. I really encourage you to speak regardless, even like whatever the scale is. You have an audience, you have people you can speak to, and I promise you it's going to ascend your own consciousness. And also, like I said, like really, really sharing the people who are speaking their truth, because they're being very brave. It's scary to do this in a world where, like you said, you get ridiculed. And that's all by design. That's by programming. You know, the term conspiracy theorist was invented by the CIA by design to discredit anyone who challenged the mainstream narrative. So people who are asleep, really, nobody wants to be called. Some people maybe do want to be called a conspiracy theorist, but I certainly never have seen myself as that. I've never identified that way. And I've been called that, and I'm like, oh, come on, guys, wake up. Like, look at the facts. The truth is really on our side. It's just that anyone who is not willing to open up their mind, expand their mind a little bit, is going to look on the mainstream media and see that this stuff is getting labeled misinformation. It's getting labeled fringe conspiracy theory. And the question to be asking is, why? If this movement is so big, why is it getting labeled fringe conspiracy theory? And if it's not true, why is it getting censored like you wouldn't believe? Nothing else on the internet is, you know, there's so much misinformation on the internet that's not getting labeled or censored.
I was talking to an American friend of mine before we came on air, and she was saying, we were talking about the film Demic, and you know, she was saying that obviously it's been taken down left, right, and center, and every time they put it up, they take it down. But interestingly, what they were basically, the mainstream media were talking about, and they were basically saying, well, it's the conspiracy theorist junk, and actually it's promoting not wearing masks, which is, you know, not right. And it was like that. They didn't say anything else.
Masks, this whole, be very, very, come to your own conclusions and do your own research, because social distancing is by design, quarantine is by design, masks are by design. Masks don't do anything to protect you. They keep your own viruses within you, and they actually lower your immune system if you're a healthy person. We're supposed to be getting a healthy dose of viruses. We're also getting deprived of vitamin D, of physical touch. So our immune systems are going to be low when quarantine opens, and that's by design. This is all by design. So be very, very weary of this narrative that you're getting fed. I don't say this to invoke any fear. I say this to empower you and help you snatch your power back. And there are a lot of incredible whistleblowers in every fabric of society, but specifically whistleblower doctors. Try to find, and this is a good practice to figure out how to do your own research, look up Dr. Erickson's video. There are lots of other doctors too that have come forward about, how to really deal with viruses. And it's basically the exact opposite of what they're telling us. And so again, the question to be asking is why? And why have they switched their narrative so much? You know, in the beginning, when they wanted the virus to spread, they told everyone not to wear masks. It's just so crazy how it all works.
Absolutely. And we need you, like we need your voice, you know, it's critical time. And, you know, our strength is in our numbers. You know, that's the other thing they don't want, is it us all to come together and push up, because they won't be able to stop. It's already coming. It's coming. It's just a matter of how quickly.
The only reason they have power is because they are unified. So their greatest, you know, they've been trying to keep us in separation consciousness for so long. Black, white, Democrat, Republican.
Boxes.
One.
Boxes.
Yeah. As soon as we wake up and unify, they're screwed. And that's their biggest fear. And they know that. And that's why they're still trying to keep us in separation. They're trying to censor what's happening online, but there's an awakening happening, and it's online, and they can delete as many videos as they want, but they can't delete our brains. And people are seeing a lot of stuff online. And like I said,
everybody's talking about it. People that I wouldn't expect to talk about it. I'm like, brilliant.
Yeah, you know, once you wake up to it, it's so obvious. And the way they do this type of magic that they do, they have to show us the plan. It has to be in plain sight so that we agree to it. So once you see it, you're like, this is so obvious. You can't,
especially all the, you know, the Illuminati and the singers and Oh my
Oh my
goodness,
gosh. Their
outrageous.
tweets and stuff. I'm like,
I know.
it is
It's
wild.
insulting. It's actually, when I
Yeah.
think once you've woken up, it's absolutely insulting, but
Yeah.
they're just flaunting it like that. It's incredible.
But if you're asleep, you don't see it at all.
No.
And that's why there are these two Earths existing simultaneously on the planet.
Mm. Let's come on to your Kundalini awakening, because I do want to hear about that, because that just sounds incredible. And could you just tell our audience what that is, first of all?
Absolutely. Yeah. So there are many different types of awakenings. First, let me say that people think, oh, I've had my spiritual awakening and I'm good to go now. No, if you think that, like, you are stunting.
This is just the start.
Yeah, this is just the beginning. There are awakenings within awakenings within awakenings. I've had 2 awakenings just within quarantine. But Kundalini is one of the yogic paths. The Kundalini energy is a snake that lies dormant at the base of your spine, wrapped 3.5 times. And you have 7 chakras in your physical body. As you clear all of those chakras, as they align, that snake, that dormant snake, can actually rise and come up to your crown, and that causes Kundalini awakening. What that actual experience is like is so different for every single person. But I'll tell you a little bit about my experience. And if you want to hear more detail, I have a YouTube video too, but I'll try to kind of keep it short for this. Let's see. So I started it. It's at the time we're filming this, by the way, it's May. I started having a lot of shocks, like what felt like electric shocks when you plug your blow dryer in and it shocks you, in the base of my spine and in my third eye. And I was getting them all the time. And I just kind of knew it was Kundalini energy. I knew a bit about Kundalini, but I did Kundalini yoga and stuff, but I wasn't like, I didn't know everything there was to know. All of a sudden, Kundalini is just like getting in my, because the universe will like give you exactly what you need. So all of a sudden, Kundalini is like in my vortex all the time. I read like 5 Kundalini books in a month. I was in Bali and I started doing Kundalini every single day. And I knew I was going to have a Kundalini awakening. Like
Kundalini yoga.
Kundalini yoga, chanting, Kundalini meditations.
I'm so into chanting right now.
Me too. I love it. I get in a trance and just bliss out. So I feel like the snake's going up my spine, and I actually have a video. So I came back from Bali, like, I don't know, I think sometime in February, like mid-February. And I have a video the day I got back. Someone had asked me on my Instagram stories, have you had a Kundalini awakening? And I was like, no, funny you ask. I haven't had one, but I think it's coming. And actually, I think it's coming on April 1st.
I even knew the date.
I knew the date. I mean, it's funny. It's like, that's the date that came to me.
Sure.
And you don't really know until it happens, but that's what happened. My family of light came to me and in meditation, and basically, I've always been psychic. In recent years, my clairs have really been enhanced. And my family of light started coming to me in quarantine like never before. And they basically sat me down and they were like, you're gonna merge with your higher self today. And I'm like, okay, awesome. And literally, like, my body started moving on its own. They started putting me in all of these yoga poses that some of them I had done before, some of them I hadn't. I'm very flexible, so I was very contorted. They're moving me around. My hands are going in all of these mudras, and my whole body is quaking. For at least an hour, my whole body is quaking. I could literally physically feel my DNA upgrading. I could feel what I call packages that my future selves and my family of light will put in my body in different chakras. These are like
light codes,
they're light codes, but they're like, there's kind of 2 forms that they come. Some of them are like upgrades for me that activate my own DNA. And some of them are more like, here's a box of psychic material that you get to unpack. And that day I got a lot of stuff about the Great Awakening. And it was a wild experience. It felt really good. It was really trippy. And after that, I mean, things have been different. Let me just tell you, like, I already was on the magical universe train. Like, everything in my life was organized all the time. I was already psychic, but it just got turned up 10 notches. I've never been particularly clairvoyant. I'm very clairsentient and claircognizant, but I started becoming very clairvoyant. I started to see energy a lot more, just completely telepathic. And it's hard to totally explain, to be honest with you.
Sure.
It's hard to translate it, but like I'm looking out my window right now and I can just see energy in a way that I wasn't able to before. And I'm more confident about it. Like, I used to be able to see energy really well when I was a kid, and then it started to come back and I started to notice it, but I would doubt myself.
Sure. Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, I'm positive. Like I'm positive, like of what I'm seeing. And so, yeah, it's a whole other level of awakening. My voice changed. Lots of people in my audience have been telling me that they notice differences in me in many different ways. So, yeah.
Wow. Fantastic. Well, absolutely amazing, fascinating. And of course, what do you put it down to? Do you put it down to the fact that, we are ascending, and so, the vibration is shifting and moving, and so actually the veil is thinner and it kind of is becoming more accessible for everybody?
It's a lot of things, the vibration of the planet is raising, and 5D consciousness, I live most of my life in 5D consciousness, and I have for a while, but it's very easy to do so now. I don't get zapped out of it because the whole planet is ascending. The spiritual veil is also thinner. The whole Galactic Federation, like all of our families of light are here.
Close, yeah.
So they're all very present right now. So I do definitely attribute some of that. That's why so many people are waking up on the planet right now too. But it's not just that. It's years of conscious, intentional work that I have done on myself. All of this stuff accumulates over time. But I really believe a tipping point for me was speaking my truth around the Great Awakening and really taking some big, bold risks with what I shared and with my audience. And even though people didn't get it, even though people told me not to do it, people very close to me really didn't like it. It was very triggering for them, and I did it anyways. And that was terrifying. It still is terrifying. But speaking your truth, like I said, it's a super highway to higher consciousness, and it unlocked something for me. And it's funny, my throat just twitched. So, I've had also in quarantine, I've had a lot of past life experiences come to me, past and future selves. And I've seen how this has been my being crucified for speaking my truth.
Okay.
Many lifetimes for me. And my role here on earth is to be a light and a guide for the ascension, and to channel information from higher realms and to anchor in higher frequencies, higher states of consciousness through my being and through my voice. This is what I do. This is why I'm here on earth. And I've been doing this for lifetimes, and I've been training for this lifetime for this is the big one. And I've started to see, oh, this is why I've had a cough my entire life. Oh, this is why I've always had trouble breathing. Oh, this is why I got strep throat 13 times in a year and got my tonsils out as an adult. This is,
can relate.
Yeah. I've been crucified for speaking my truth. I saw many lifetimes of me getting my throat slit. And this all just came to me recently. I kind of knew it intuitively, but I had never seen it. So, so speaking your truth, it's important.
Amazing. Anna was saying that she's been training for this for many lifetimes. She is not the only one. If you're listening to this interview, this is your message. Like I truly believe it too. I feel it in my bones that I've been training for this for lifetimes, and definitely the throat for me. Like I'm just about to go more on YouTube, and I can feel it bringing out my stuff. Because I've been podcasting for years, and I can sit on a microphone and I can talk and blah, blah, blah. But YouTube, there's something more vulnerable about being on YouTube. Like people can attack you, and that's bringing out my stuff.
YouTube is awesome. I've been on Instagram.
Reframe it for me, please.
It's all about Instagram, and I just launched my YouTube channel in quarantine. specifically around this awakening. And it's been so awesome because YouTube, there's a whole different energy that comes through. It's very raw. But also, I believe it's easier for your people to find you on YouTube. It's so searchable.
That's true, yeah.
You know, some of the things that I was maybe, up until now at least, holding back saying on Instagram because I have such a wide audience there, I say on YouTube because I know that the people that can hear it are searching for it.
Amazing. Yeah, no, that's really good. Really helpful. Thank you. Yeah, very helpful.
I get on YouTube. It's fun. I'm loving it now. At my home. I go home on YouTube now.
Well, it's a natural part of the evolution. Like, I know that it's the next step. So absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. I could talk to you all day. How can people find you, Anna?
Yes. So my handle is I am Anna Wood. So IAMANNAWOOD. Come find me on Instagram. I'm also same name on YouTube. That's actually my handle everywhere if you want to find me on Twitter as well. But Instagram and YouTube is really where it's at. And then also my website, which is iamannawood.com. Lots of goodies for you there.
And I am doing Anna's rainbow meditation chakra activation, and I can highly recommend if you guys are interested in what she's talking about. Like, yeah, I'm about day 5 or 6, I think. I've got a little chart where I cross it off because it keeps me motivated.
I love that. I love that. This is the perfect time to polish your rainbow, get your chakras nice and shiny, clean. This is the time to go within. And I'm getting amazing feedback on this activation. It's super affordable as well. So if you're feeling called, I would love to have you.
Oh, Anna, thank you so much. I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. Please go and check her out on YouTube and on Instagram. And yeah, thank you so much. I look forward to our paths crossing in the future.
Absolutely. I know our stars will collide soon. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for listening to the Dharma Life podcast. I do hope you enjoyed this episode. Please come over and say hello on my Instagram, our Facebook group, and also please let me know what you thought. So if you are listening, please take a screenshot of the podcast that you are listening to. Tag me on Instagram and I will reshare your post, and please let me know what it is that you got out of today's episode. Remember, when we do our Dharma, we are happier, healthier, we live longer, and we have a deep sense of unshakable inner peace.